You know, I was thinking about a couple of things here. There was another shooting inside a civilian home of an innocent civilian by a police officer. And it's continuing to be a trend ever since the incident that was perpetrated by George Zimmerman on the murder of Trayvon Martin. Let's talk about it, shall we? This is DJ Wolf Live. All right, guys. Let me go ahead and talk about this. There was a shooting that happened just a few. Matter of fact, it was less than a week ago. It was a couple of days ago, right in Fort Worth, Texas. I got family down that way. The woman was 28 years old. The name escapes me. I know they brought it up. I was just listening to a podcast by my peeps over at Thought Crimes, and they were talking about it. And I'm like, here we go again. The same bullshit. A cop didn't have a warrant. He drew his gun on the woman. Didn't ring the doorbell. And just, shot her. Completely unprovoked. Only thing she did was come to the window. And then their so-called alibi for or justification was, she had a gun. Now, here's my thing. They can carry guns in Texas. But my thing is that the woman was shot unprovoked. Okay? That's the same thing that happened with Bowling Jean by that racist-ass cop, Amber Geiger. And this continues to be a trend. Do you know that it will be 8 years in February since the murder of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman? The murder that was allowed to be carried out legally but illegally by the Sanford police. And yes, I said it because it's true. Okay? Anytime you as a citizen are in pursuit of a criminal, like a vigilante, okay, or a so-called criminal, by a vigilante, and you are told to stand down by an officer of the law. Yeah, we know he called 911 and told him about that, but they are considered an officer of the law when it comes to that. They were given a direct lawful order to stand down, and he didn't do it. Of course, they did not allow to, or were not allowed to play, the prosecution wasn't allowed to play the audio because they deemed it inadmissible. How the fuck that was inadmissible? That came from your agency. They recorded the audio. They record all audios for 911 calls. Okay? And they didn't allow it. That alone would have set the wheels in motion to have put George Zimmerman in jail. The problem that I've always had and still continue to have is the law continues to be on the side of the lawless. There's no question about that. They continue to do it. They continue to be on the side of the lawless, and meanwhile, the victims are deemed the criminals. Case in point, Trayvon Martin, by the way, was deemed a thug, and they wrote him off like, he wasn't nobody. He was just a thug anyway, or a potential thug. He was a kid. He was 17, and he, it was just a regular kid. But he didn't do anything to George Zimmerman anyway. all those trumped up bullshit charges they were trying to say to defend George Zimmerman, who shot Trayvon Martin. Unprovoked, as far as I'm concerned. Not only that, Trayvon Martin did not use a weapon against George Zimmerman. Okay? And in the audio that should have been used, Trayvon Martin begged for his life to be spared. George Zimmerman was not in the fight with Trayvon Martin. That was a bunch of bullshit. And I always said it then, I'll say it now. The audio you clearly heard Trayvon Martin begging for his life. They claim it was George Zimmerman. But how the fuck is it going to be George Zimmerman begging for his life if he has a gun on Trayvon Martin? Screaming. Bullshit. Okay, I've always said that. Because if you ever heard the audio, Trayvon Martin was begging for his life. After he was shot, dead silence. Complete dead silence. All right? So I know it was bullshit that happened. And it continues to be the same thing. It happened the same thing with the guy in New York who was selling this, was on the corner, who got jumped by those cops. It continued to happen to this day. Law enforcement allowed the lawless to do this, to get away with murder, because they're part of the problem. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go a little bit on a limb to say this. Law enforcement is as big of a problem as the criminals who are doing this shit, because they're in essence making the victims the criminal and the criminals the victim. Even in cases where it didn't involve race, it was like that. Casey Anthony, prime example. Everybody knew she murdered her daughter, but in turn they tried to make her a victim. She was no victim. She was a criminal. She killed her daughter. Everybody know that. And she got away with it. You know? I'm sick of this mess. Amber got the same thing. They tried to pull the same mess with her. Of course, along with a couple of coons. Yeah, I'm saying it because they were coons. I don't give a damn. But people, well, forgive. Honestly, I'm sick of that. Why is it every fucking time? Yeah, I'm going out of my religion on this. I don't care today. Every fucking time a white person commit a crime on black people, you have to forgive. Look at the case point with Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof, this son of a bitch, when he finally got caught, the first thing they did was take this son of a bitch to Burger King. It was almost like they were rewarding him for the murder, which is in essence is what they did. They rewarded this son of a bitch. For what? For being a criminal. Yes, they did. Yes, the fuck they did. I still shake my head like, what the fuck? Did they really just do that? The answer is yes. They really just did that. The thing was, there was no rhyme or reason for it. Not at all. Not at all. No rhyme, no reason, and no excuse. But they did it anyway. They did it anyway. And we need to overhaul some of the laws in this country and some of the law enforcement in this country. Because if they are allowing, especially even if they are allowing the criminals to get away with the stuff that they get away with, and they're not being penalized, and they're not being justly penalized for what they did, then there's a problem with our laws in this country. There's no doubt about that. And no one has questioned it, not even Obama, when he was in office. Trump, we all know, don't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn about nothing or nobody. He really don't. And that's bad. That's bad business as far as I'm concerned. You don't care. They don't care. The problem is, man, this country is to me is coming to a matter of lawlessness anymore. It has. You got y'all president trying to get away with murder again. I'm not going to go into detail about that because I'd be all day talking about that bullshit. That's another whole story. He gets away with stuff all the time. But that's another story. And I'm kind of sick and tired of all this mess, man. Left and right across this country, man, you got law enforcement officials, just because they're part of law enforcement, getting away with this stuff. The one thing I never really talked about was the murder of Tamir Rice by that rogue-ass cop up in my hometown, Cleveland. What makes it so bad, he got a suspension. He never did any jail time for killing killing Tamir Rice. A suspension. Now, I don't know whether he got paid or not, but he was suspended. And then they turned around and he got hired by another police department. They kept that very quiet. And I found that out. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. That cop is back on the beat as we speak. Tamir Rice's family did sue the city, but that cop is back on the beat. So justice was never served. 12-year-old boy was shot to death with a BB gun. Now, granted, there was no reason for him to be carrying a BB gun out there anyway, and the BB gun looked like a gun. But two things are in play in that. The 911 operator was told by a person who called, and the person who called said, and this was also on audio, that it appeared to be a BB gun. All right? But the video clearly also shows the cop never gave Tamir Rice his just due Miranda rights. He didn't get out the car and say, son, this is police. I need you to put the weapon down. He never said that. He never said that. The neighborhood, there was no report of an active shooter. Okay, that's the other thing. But nevertheless, they knew it was kid that they pulled up on. And this cop completely overreacted. He gets out the car. As soon as they pull up to him, he don't put the bullhorn on and talk him down. No. Which he very well could have done, because I know there are many police cars, and I know this from personal experience, that have bullhorns built inside of those police cars where they don't even have to get out in certain situations. Specifically that one, or at least they don't have to get out and pull a gun on the suspect or potential suspect in certain situations. They could have just drove up to him turn the bullhorn on and say, hey, son, could you put down the gun? They never did that. They pulled up to him, the cop shot him. Pulled right up to him, got in the car, shot him. Before a young boy could do anything, shot him. That was the deliberate surprise move for a kid who didn't do anything but play with a BB gun. That in itself, my friends, makes no fucking sense. This shit that's going on out here right now is on purpose. It's deliberate. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. This shit's been deliberate. All right? Even with the guy in California who had a cell phone and the cop shot him. You know, that was deliberate. They intended to kill that young man. Okay? You can go all the way back to the time of when Fred Hampton was murdered in Chicago. That was so deliberate. They did it on purpose. You know? And like I said, there needs to be a complete overhaul of law enforcement across this country. That's what it's going to likely take. Because they're going to keep doing the same stuff over and over again until that happens. And we should continue to sound the bullhorn on the bullshit. We have to. And make it louder and louder and louder until they can't stand the noise no more, and they'll finally do something about it. But we got to keep on pressing them. We got to, because this shit is ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. And we should no longer stand for this shit no more. Because our children depend on it. Bottom line, this is DJ Wolf, and I'm out.